Welcome back to Horror Movie Month, and today I will be talking about one of my favorite horror movies of all time, John Carpenter's Halloween. It's definitely an instant classic, and it's a timeless horror film. And if you're a horror fan, if you've never heard of Michael Myers, why do you even bother being on my channel? I mean, like, seriously, because Michael Myers is a legend, and if you have seen Halloween, good for you, and that's really good. And I want to talk about why this movie is so special. But first, let's get into the plot. Basically, Michael Myers, a 6-year-old Michael Myers, I think in Halloween 1968 or something, or 67, somewhere around there, a 6-year-old Michael Myers brutally kills his older sister, Judith Myers, I think that's her name. And basically, he's sent to this, he's sent behind bars in some kind of asylum thing and stuff like that. And 15 years later, on the night of Halloween 1978, he then, I think, 1978, he then escapes out of that asylum and goes back to his old hometown to continue his killing spree on his other victims along with his virgin sister. I don't really have to mention that Halloween is a classic because it really is. It's one of the greatest horror movies out there, one of the greatest slashers, probably the greatest slasher if you actually think about it. It's probably the greatest slasher film today because there might be all like other slasher films that are great. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, all those movies are good, but this one, one of the movies that reinvented the horror genre of its kind. But the thing is, what a lot of people didn't really get about Michael Myers is his character. Why was he evil? Why did he kill people? They never explain that in any of the movies. And that's what I like about Michael Myers. This movie revolves all around just evil and evil itself. There's no backstory to Michael Myers. It's just him being evil for no apparent reason. I guess once someone finds evil, it then brings that evil inside of them, and they can't really take control of it, and they turn into psychopaths, basically, and that's what Michael Myers is, and that's why he's one of the special and greatest horror movie icons of all time. Now, when this movie came out, this is like any of those low-budget horror movies. I think it won it got $300,000 for its budget, which back then was still extremely low. However, the movie did gross, I think, $20 million, and it's one of the most profitable horror movies of all time. It has remained timeless since it's been around, and from generation to generation to generation, the movie gets better. Now let's talk about the characters in this movie. To me, in my opinion, the characters aren't really that interesting, but they're fun to watch. They're pretty fun, but they're not like characters like you would see in Jaws or The Conjuring or stuff like that. But they're still pretty fun characters. Some of them, at least. Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays as Laurie Strode, is actually fine in this movie. She's nothing great, but she's fine. Sometimes she gets a little whiny and stuff like that. She was actually terrified by her performance, but however, John Carpenter said that she did a good job. As for the other actors, the teens aren't really that interesting. They're just like other teens that you would see like in the Friday the 13th movies. And sometimes the acting gets a little too much, and it's not that good when it gets up that high. As for other problems with the movie, that's really it. John Carpenter directed the crap out of this movie, and it looks so beautiful still today. This movie was released in 78, and it still looks gorgeous and fascinating today, and still remains as one of the most profitable and most scariest horror movies of all time. The camera quality in this movie, for a 70s movie, is absolutely astounding. John Carpenter's direction in this movie makes you feel tension. It gives you tension, and it actually makes you feel terrifying at times. It's one of the reasons why you can continue to watch this movie from year to year to year to year to year, and including on holidays such as Halloween, which will be really fun to watch on Halloween. Just snuggle up in a blanket and watch Halloween on a Halloween night. You're like, okay, here it is, and you just see like Michael Myers killing people and stuff like that and stuff. It's just very cool and kind of terrifying, scary at the same time, but mostly very fun. It's really fun. And yes, I did see the 2007 remake. It's not the best horror movie remake, but it is better than some horror movie remakes that we have out today. But it's not as good as the original. No other Halloween movie is as good as the original one. And I don't think any of the sequels will be. Sure, it's a successful franchise, but the first movie is just gold. It's really gold, and I think that's basically the movie that made Michael Myers a horror movie legend. And who cannot forget the iconic soundtrack composed and scored by John Carpenter himself? Yes, if you play that song, people will definitely recognize that. And considering that this movie is low budget, you can kind of tell that it's a low budget movie where sometimes in this movie, sometimes they'll use the same sound or dialogue a couple of times. And some of the props that they used for this movie, like maybe when they try to use blood for the movie, which is very little blood in this movie and stuff like that. But the rest of the stuff, it's just really good and stuff like that. The effects are not terrible. It's just, for a low-budget horror movie, it probably would have worked back then. But today, I guess if you're really into it, but still, this movie works today. It really does work. It's gotten better from generation to generation, and it'll never get old. It'll be shared to many, many people of the genre, fans of the genre. So if you haven't seen the original Halloween or any of the Michael Myers movies, I recommend starting off with this one. It's the best in the entire franchise, and it deserves to be recognized for people who don't know the film. A lot of people, almost everyone knows this film. It's so iconic, and it's so very timeless. It's a timeless horror film, and it's a classic in so many different levels, and it's a great movie, and it's a movie that almost, like, every horror fan should see at least once. And you don't even have to be a horror fan. Any person in general. Or if you're just one of those people who like classic horror movies, and if you just want to watch movies to get scared, this is a good movie. This is a perfect movie for you. And Halloween is tomorrow. So yeah, this movie, there's a 99.9% chance that this movie will be on TV. But there's everything in this movie that I absolutely love, even though the acting sometimes bugs me with some of the characters. But the rest of the movie is fantastic and gorgeous. The setting is beautiful. The characters are well designed. Michael Myers is creepy. His mask is disturbing. Fun fact, his mask was actually copied off of William Shatner's face. They literally bought a William Shatner mask, cut out the eyes, and spray painted it white. And that has been into kids' nightmares and adults' nightmares for decades. Look, I even own the mask myself. Let's put down the hair. Let's put it on. But yes, so on and so on. The directing in this movie is surprisingly well done by the legendary John Carpenter himself. Makes a lot of great movies. If you don't know who he is, first off, you need to educate yourself, and secondly, check out his movies, because his movies are definitely worth watching. And if you don't know who he is, I think you should check out my movie review of The Thing. That's another movie he made, and I did a movie review of that too, somewhere in my channel. But check it out too, because that's another great one of his great movies and stuff like that. But anyway, Halloween is definitely a classic. It deserves to be up there in the top 10 greatest horror movies of all time, and stuff like that. And it has to be high up there in the slasher genre and stuff like that. And it's just a classic, and it's a movie that everyone should see at least once, and it's become timeless for a reason. And I'm gonna give Halloween an A. So guys, thank you so much for watching my horror movie review of Halloween. Look forward to my next horror movie review of The Shining, my favorite horror movie of all time. And tomorrow is Halloween, which means I promised you guys I was going to do a special horror movie review for you guys tomorrow. It's a surprise. You guys will see what it is tomorrow. And I'm kind of surprised to see what your guys' reactions are to this horror movie review tomorrow, because you guys don't know what movie I'm reviewing tomorrow, so it's going to be a surprise for you guys. But yes, I'm going to get this uploaded so I can upload the horror movie review of The Shining. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, You guys show me support through my channel, and I can't thank you guys so much. Just so you know, before I leave, I just want to show you this. Look at what I got over here. I think you guys might have noticed it when I was reviewing. I got my Chucky Complete 7 movie collection. And yes, this movie does come with Cult of Chucky. If you don't believe me, it's right here. It comes with Child's Play 2, 3, Ride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, and look, Cult of Chucky. So yeah, I have all of the 7 movies, and I opened this, and it's really fun. I'm a huge fan of Chucky, and I'm a huge fan of horror in general, so I was very excited to get this. So yeah, anyway, and I got my horror movie gallery, if you could see up there, of my horror movie drawings, from my characters from horror movies and stuff like that. I'm going to make a video of that sometime. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys show me support. I love every single one of you. And as always, I am MarioFan520, and I will see you next time. Peace out.